Well, good evening. I'm Mrs. Marizio. I'm the elementary principal, and I'm also our Director of Federal Programs. I want to thank all of you for coming here this evening. It's our fourth Family Advisory Council of this school year. Typically, before the pandemic, we had been piggybacking this with our Student of the Month. Unfortunately, the school board meetings, once the rise in the COVID cases had come up, those numbers made a difference, so the school board meetings are still closed to the public. Hopefully, either very soon this year or next year, we'll be able to open those school board meetings back up to the public and go back to piggybacking these with Student of the Month. But I want to welcome you here. We have a full program for you this evening. The main focus of tonight is going to be Mr. McConnell, one of our middle school teachers, and we'll introduce him he'll introduce himself here very shortly, give you some information about the school-wide positive behavior support that he's actually been taking the lead in this year in the middle high school. That's grades 6 through 12. Ms. Carrick, who's our social worker, our homeschool visitor, our foster liaison, and homelessness liaison is also here this evening. She's going to talk a little bit about regular attendance. And then we also have our employees here from AHN, Allegheny Health Network. New this year to the elementary and to the middle high school is the chill room. And just from the sounds of it, you're probably exactly correct. It's just a place where you get to go and to chill out for a short period of time, get yourself refocused, and get back into classroom. So we're going to start with Mr. McConnell. He's going to take it over. He has some good information for you this evening.
I move around too much, so I'm going to take this microphone off if I can figure it out. All right, my name is Chris McConnell. I am a 6th grade ELA teacher. I also have taken the lead this year on our school-wide positive behavior interventions and supports in grades 6 through 12. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about what that is and what that looks like here at Clairton. So what is school-wide positive behavior interventions and supports, or in short, SWPBIS? Is a school-wide positive behavior interventions and supports is a framework designed to enhance students' understanding of behavior expectations at school. Schools work within the framework according to their specific needs. Staff members and students are taught strategies aligned to the expected behaviors to ensure consistency across different contexts in classrooms, the lunchroom, and restrooms. And those are just some examples. The way that I like to put it in easier terms is I compare it to my 10-year-old. I ask my 10-year-old to clean his bedroom, and automatically he comes down within 5 minutes and he tells me that his bedroom is clean. I go to the bedroom and I look and it's not anywhere near my standards. Usually, before I started learning about all of these things, I get upset and I say this bedroom is not clean. But really, he didn't quite know what my expectations were. So I have to actually show him what my expectations are so that he can meet those expectations of a clean bedroom. So the way it works is there are multiple tiers within the program. You have tier 1, which is if you had a classroom of 10 students, is about 8 of your students. So 8 students fit the tier 1 category, and that's about 80% of student population of any school. Basically, that program is made to sort of build those expectations for 80% of the school. So if I say be respectful, I can simply tell about 80% of the school, or 8 out of 10 kids in my classroom, let's act respectfully, and they kind of get that cue and they understand. But then we have tier 2, which is roughly about 10% of students in most schools, which these are students who the simple cue of let's be respectful doesn't necessarily work. They need a little bit more support in order to understand what that expectation is. And this is where we get into our STAT program, which is our student assistance program, which allows us to remove barriers from learning for students who are having some trouble in the classroom. And we can also do things like behavior charts and things along those lines to help the student along. Then you get into tier 3, which is a very small amount, and it might be one kid in a classroom of 10. And this is a kid who just really struggles. And usually what ends up happening is we try the tier 2, and that doesn't work, so we end up in a tier 3 support. And that is basically meaning we look for outside resources such as the AIU and other professionals that can help us to remove those barriers even more that aren't allowing the student to be successful. So again, when we're talking about what I'm going to talk about today, which is our school-wide positive behaviors and supports and interventions program, this is built to adhere to about 80% of our students, but to also allow us to help identify the students that fall in tier 2 and 3 so that we can provide them the supports that they need to be successful in school. So what is SWPBIS? It is teaching. The way we used to think about behavior was we would have an antecedent, something that would happen, okay? And then a behavior would occur, and then we would just give a consequence. Well, SWPBIS changes that a little bit, whereas we look to first prevent things from happening that create behaviors. Then we teach the proper behavior, and then we reinforce that behavior through positive means, giving them verbal praise, rewards, things like that. So how do we prevent undesirable behavior? Well, it begins with anticipation. We have to anticipate where behaviors occur in the school. So our SWPBIS team sat down for months and talked about, well, where do we see most of our behaviors in the middle and high school? And we came up with those locations. We talked about what type of behaviors are most common in each of those areas. So for example, the hallways. Students running through the hallways or on their phones up in the high school or potentially on their Chromebooks in the middle school, things like that. What sort of behaviors would we prefer to see in those areas? Well, obviously, we would prefer not to see cell phones out. We would prefer not to have Chromebooks out. That's where students aren't seeing where they're walking, seeing where they're going, running into people, potentially getting injured. Those are things that we want to stop from happening. So what steps can we take as a team to persuade students to not engage in those behaviors? So it's not as easy as simply saying, don't do that. Anybody who's ever tried to tell a child, don't do that, usually it is the opposite effect at first, unless we provide them some sort of persuasion not to. So why do we have to teach desirable behaviors? I love this picture because you see it's the Midvale School for the Gifted. So this is obviously a very intelligent young man, and he is pushing on the door that says pool, and we've all been there before. Okay, we need reminded, all of us sometimes, of exactly what we need to do to perform even the simplest of tasks, like opening a door. So we have to reinforce these desirable behaviors. We use positive reinforcement. So what is positive reinforcement? Well, that is simply having positive consequences for doing really good things. We want to really focus and reward the positive instead of constantly banging the drum on the negative. So positive reinforcement is most effective when both verbal praise and tangible rewards are present. So what does that mean? We don't want to just give the kids a reward such as candy or a special treat just for doing something right. We are human beings, and human beings want to be verbally praised. They want to hear their teachers and the principals and the people they work with every day telling them positive things that they are doing. So we're really pushing and stressing with everybody in the school to make sure that we're doing that. Just like we have to teach behavior, we have to let students know when we see those things. And it's not as simple as just saying, thanks for doing a good job. Well, no, we want to be very specific. If a student picks up a piece of trash and throws it in the wastebasket, we want to say, really good job, thank you for picking up the trash. That's a very respectful thing that you can do to make our school a nicer place to be. So we are working with teachers to really be really specific with how they are verbally praising students. We're also working with teachers and staff on a 5-to-1 ratio with positive to correction. What does that mean? Well, sometimes in the classroom, what can seem like a bad day, where you have a couple students who aren't doing what they should do, you kind of get laser focused in on those things. And again, I do that with my own child. He comes home from school. I say, why didn't you do good on, or why didn't you get all your homework done before I got home? Why did you miss 5 points on your test? Why isn't your bedroom clean? Why haven't you eaten all your dinner? And we bombard kids with the negatives. So what we want to try to do is have 5 positives to 1 correction. So instead of just focusing on all of those negatives, we need to find and point out all of the positive things that the kids are doing in the classroom, in the hallways, in the cafeteria, and all the locations that they go to. So we want to try to have 5 positive statements for every correction. And then what that creates is a positive environment where kids feel comfortable to sit and learn and be themselves. So looking at our specific program, okay, because it is molded to us and our specific school, is we came up with 3 expectations: being respectful, being motivated, and being responsible. Our targeted areas where we felt like we saw most behaviors were in the classroom, the cafeteria, the hallway, the restrooms, arrival and dismissal from our school, so the front entrance, and assemblies and events. So basically the auditorium here and the gym. So those are the areas that we really wanted to focus on. So how are we going to be successful? Well, the number one thing that the teachers have already started doing is teaching desired behaviors in each designated area. So we have each week, okay, a new area that's being taught. For example, this week was, I believe this week was the restrooms. Now, obviously, we didn't take a trip into the restroom, but we did talk to the students about what the expected behavior is in the restroom. So what does it look like to be responsible in the restroom? Well, being responsible is washing our hands, cleaning up after ourselves, things of that nature. What does it mean to be motivated? Well, it means to go to the restroom and then get back to class, so you can get back to where you need to learn and where you need to be in order to be successful in school. We have to practice these things. This is not a one-time thing. We go through these different locations each week, but then what we need to do is take a look at where are we struggling, where are we still seeing behaviors, and we need to practice and reteach those areas to help assist the kids with what they should be doing in each location. We reward respectful, motivated, and responsible behavior. We hand out Bear Pride tickets, which I'll talk about in a bit, which is a real quick way to remind the students, that they're doing really good things. We provide specific verbal feedback. I kind of mentioned that before. It's not as simple as just saying thanks for being motivated. A kid walks into my class, has their Chromebook out, is ready to start working. I walk up to him or her and I say, thank you for being motivated. Your Chromebook's out, you have all your materials on your desk, and you're ready to learn. Because not only does that student hear that, but every other student in the classroom hears that. And everybody wants verbal praise. So when they hear that positive reinforcement given to that student, they're going to want that too. And now they know specifically what they need to do in order to receive that positive feedback. And I had mentioned the 5-to-1 ratio that we're currently working on. So how do we reinforce positive behavior? We give Bear Pride tickets to teachers. So they get a booklet of Bear Pride tickets. On there, it says respectful, responsible, and motivated. So for example, teachers see a student in the hallway who is being motivated to get to class. They have all their things, they're getting there, they're on time. A teacher might reward that student with a Bear Pride ticket and tell them that they were motivated and explain to them specifically why they felt that they deserved that ticket. I should also mention that this isn't just reserved for teachers. Cafeteria staff, our security staff, guidance, administration, our tech staff, everybody has these booklets. So I keep mentioning teachers because that's the world that I'm in, but everybody can hand out these tickets in our school. Students turn their tickets into an assigned bin in their English classes. So in between classes, when they come into English class, they can turn in any of the tickets that they get, and those tickets are collected. Tickets are then collected every Thursday by a PBIS team member. For example, I pick up all the middle school from all of the middle school English rooms. And basically what we do is put them into one large drawing. Students then are selected. We have 3 middle school students, 3 high school students, and we also select 1 middle school teacher and 1 high school teacher to give a reward for. For, obviously the teachers, and they receive a reward for passing out the tickets and really buying into the program, whereas students are selected to recognize them for their positive behaviors. But we also offer school-wide rewards. So these are goals for everybody to work towards. What we decided on was 1,000 tickets equals a big reward. So for example, on Valentine's Day, all the middle school students received an ice cream social because they reached 1,000 tickets as a whole. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade got to 1,000 tickets, which was pretty impressive because that was in 4 weeks. So they had been doing really, really well for 4 weeks, showed motivated, respectful, and responsible behavior. We rewarded them with an ice cream social. Rewards get bigger every time 1,000 tickets are earned. So we can have special lunches for the students. We've had ideas like a field day, an idea that I think the high schoolers would really like, which is a tailgate party outside in the parking lot where we could play games and cook hot dogs and hamburgers and just have a really good time. Again, it's all about rewarding our students for doing the positive things that they're doing. We're looking to recognize the good things that they're doing in our school. We've also decided to have some separate drawings for the high schoolers because obviously they're a little bit different. Our middle schoolers, they enjoy, sitting around and maybe just being on the Chromebook for a little bit and not having to learn. Or high schoolers have some other desirable type of things that they want to achieve and they want to earn. So we have ideas like prom tickets or potentially a March Madness watch party with their friends that we can do here in school that they can earn through these drawings and obtaining Bear Pride tickets. That is the end of my presentation. If there are any questions, my name again is Chris McConnell. My email is mcconnellc@clairtonbears.org. And you can also call me here at the school if you have any. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea Carrick. I'm the school social worker. I'm just want to go over attendance and talk about attendance quickly. Each day, attendance is taken at school. If your student is at school, they are marked present. If they are not, they are marked absent, unexcused. And if they are marked absent, unexcused, they will receive a call from the auto dialer. Each morning, the auto dialer goes out to any student who is marked absent, unexcused. And we just use this tool as a way to communicate with families, just another way to communicate about attendance. Upon students' return from school, they have 3 days to turn in their handwritten excuse. Well, it can be handwritten, it can be filled out on the Google form, it can be an email. So we ask that students within 3 days of returning turn in their excuse. If they're out for a doctor's appointment, eye appointment, any kind of medical appointment, when they ask you if you want a doctor's excuse, say yes, please. And you can send that in to us as well. Each student is allowed up to 10 handwritten or informal excuses. So those are the ones when, our children are sick or, sometimes things go on at home and we just need to take a day off of school. So any time that you need to miss, if you could let the secretary know, whether you're elementary, middle, or high school. I always tell families they can call or text me or email me as well if your student's going to be out. If you feel your student's going to be out for several days, a phone call would be really appreciated or an email, just so we can make sure that we're in communication with you and we can support you while you're out. Like I said before, each student is allowed 10 informal excuses, and then after that we ask for formal excuses, which are doctor's excuses, court, maybe there was a death in the family. We just ask that anytime there's anything going on, if you could just communicate with us so we can best help you guys, you and your student. I think that may be about it. Do you have any questions for attendance? No? Okay, that's all I have to say for attendance. I just feel that communication and just letting us know that if your student's going to miss school that day or a couple days, if you could let us know so we can work with you, we'd appreciate that. And that's all I have to say for attendance.
At this time, I'd like to ask our Allegheny Health Network staff that are here for part of our CHILL project to come up. They're going to introduce themselves and give you some information about the CHILL project, how it operates formally, informally, at the elementary and at the middle high school.
Do you want me to push anything for you? Just don't want this to go anywhere. You good? Yeah, should be fine. There we go.
Hello, good evening. My name is Miss Brittany. I am the chill room educator down in the elementary school. And I have Miss Lauren. She is the behavioral health therapist that does the school-based outpatient for the middle school and high school and some elementary students as needed. And then we have Miss Crystal, who is the supervisor that oversees the program for Clairton. So just a little bit about the CHILL project is that we are from the Allegheny Health Network, and we're partnered with the school to provide some mindfulness-informed and preventative school-based behavioral health services to serve students, staff, and families. So we are here to support the whole community, the whole school community. And what mindfulness is it is basically just the quality of being present and fully engaged with whatever you're doing in the moment. And what I've been teaching the students is it's a way to just be free from distraction. And so we are aware of our thoughts and our feelings and what is happening in the moment and figuring out ways that we can kind of regain control and be focused and reset so that they can be the best learners that they can be while they're here in school, and also while they're in the community so they can, just be the best productive little humans that they can be. Mindfulness can have many numerous benefits, including it decreases stress and sadness and increases levels of focus and happiness, according to general mindfulness research. And we are missing 2 staff. We do have another chill room educator. Miss Ami Reed is with the middle school and high school, so she primarily provide services to that population. And then Mr. Mike Briggs, he is the other behavioral health therapist. He works primarily with the elementary students, but can see some high school and middle school students as needed. And again, we're here to support the whole school community. So students can engage in this program by learning some of our mindfulness curriculum, which the chill room educators, myself and Miss Ami, provide on a monthly basis. So we do have a curriculum that we go through, just teaching skills so that they can take these skills anywhere that they need to go. And we also provide some support to the faculty through either professional development opportunities. They can come and utilize the room as needed, as a space to decompress and just kind of reset their day as well. And then for families, so that oh, no, it's fine. I'm just going off of my PowerPoint, so it's fine. And then also we provide services for families through opportunities like this. So during family nights, we are here to talk about the program, teach the skills that we are teaching the students, and just answer any questions or support that is, that you guys may have. And so, like I said, the primary component of the CHILL project is just to, throughout the week, just invite the students and staff to our space to either participate in the mindfulness lessons with their students, practice activities, or if they just need a break or just a little reset. And then the other component, like I mentioned before, we have behavioral health therapists that work with our program. And so if a student may just need a little more extra support and they have the opportunity to receive their own individual services with a licensed therapist. And the way that you would go about doing that is parents can request it, students can be screened through the SAP process, where where a faculty member or anyone in the building may identify that there might be a need. So, it can go through the SAP process that way. And then, like I said before, there is a chill room in the elementary level, and then there's also a chill room in the high school level. Even though it's on the high school floor, it still is open to all of the middle school students, and Ms. Ami does provide services to the middle school as well. Students do need passes prior to coming to the room, just so that adults know where they're at all times. And then in this last month, all of the students did complete their very first lesson with myself or Miss Ami. And the title of the lesson was Just Breathe, which was just all about learning how to properly breathe, teaching them how to breathe in through their nose and out through their mouth, and be mindful while they're doing it. So just taking it a breath in slowly and then breathing out slowly. For the elementary students, we went through square breathing, which basically what I did was I had a diagram of a square written on the board, and I guided them through some deep breathing. So what I did was I had them do it on their hand, and all I did was just told them to simply breathe in and trace a line, and then they breathed out, and then they traced the line, and then they breathed in once more, tracing the line, and then they breathed out again, tracing a line, just so that they can complete a full square, and that allows them to take 2 mindful deep breaths. And a lot of the students were really responsive to that. They've been practicing it outside of the classroom as well. And so going home, you can prompt your student, if they're in the elementary age, like, hey, do you remember square breathing? And then practice that at home as a way to kind of relax, reset, and just do a little mindfulness.
Britt, do you think we could give it a try?
I think we can give it a try.
All right, let's give it a try.
All right,
You wanna
so
show us?
yes, I'm going to show you. So what we did in elementary school was I just had everybody just hold their hand up, and I told them if they're comfortable holding it up, they can, or if they want to kind of be relaxed while they do it, they can do it this way as well. And I just had them look down at their hands, and I made sure everyone was relaxed, sitting up, and what we did was I just guided them through. So when everyone's ready, okay, we can just breathe in and then breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. And that was just something small that everyone was able to do. You can do it anywhere. They were told that they can do it while they're walking in the hallway. They can do it in the cafeteria, at home, in the grocery store, in the park. It is something that can work wherever they're at, because if it's done correctly, it is not distracting anybody else. And so that is just something that can be done when they're maybe having some big emotions they can't explain, or if they just need a nice mindful moment while they're in the classroom, just to kind of get themselves back on track. And I know that Ms. Ami, in the high school, did some guided meditation, which was very similar, just listening to a voice, instructing them on how to breathe properly, thinking about some of the emotions that are going on in their body currently, and then just being mindful and sitting with that and just being present. And they responded really well to that as well. Most of them felt super relaxed. A lot of them even felt tired, which meant they were doing it correctly. But a lot of people had some positive things to say about the exercise they practiced with Ms. Ami. And then the other thing we learned during the lessons were just how to recognize stress in the body. So we do have a stress thermometer for students that do drop into the room. And so what we do is just get into the habit of recognizing what level their stress may be at. So we have 5 levels. Level 1 is calm. Level 2 is I'm okay, not really stressed. 3 is I'm getting stressed. 4 is I'm stressed. And if you're at a level 5, you're really stressed. And so what I've been doing is just teaching the students how to recognize what level they're at and what they can do to kind of bring their stress level back down to that level 1, that baseline just being calm. And so a lot of students that do come in are able to, if they're at a level 5, they're able to utilize the room for what they need and bring themselves back down to a 2 or 1 before going to the classroom. And so that's basically it about the Chill Project and what we've been doing since we've been here for a little over a month now. Do you have any questions? Yes.
What about tech students that are not able to attend these?
So, great question. There is a chill. Yes. There is a chill room over at the Still Center.
So the lessons are mirrored. So the lessons that that Miss Brittany and Miss Ami teach are the same lessons that she's getting at Still Center. So the lessons are the exact same. She is a little bit further ahead because she's been receiving services there, but they are the same lessons. So she's probably already learned how to breathe. But if there's anything that she ever needs to redo, when she comes into the chill room, they can definitely review and visit some of these lessons and some of these techniques, because that's the purpose, right? When they come in, they're kind of utilizing these skills that are already being taught, and that's kind of how they learn to de-escalate or to calm themselves. So it just won't be maybe necessarily in that classroom environment. It will be more one-on-one.
Okay, so that machine has to arrange?
Yeah, we can definitely, whenever we reach out, like we talked earlier, we can try to set up like a time for her to be able to stop in on a regular basis, for sure.
Yes. Any other questions? All right. Well, we just thank you for being here. We're excited to be here to help support the Clairton School. And that's basically all I have for the Chill Project.
And that concludes the presentation that we have for this evening. We want to thank you all for being a part of this. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about school-wide positive behavior at the middle high school, the importance of regular attendance, as well as some information about the Chill Project at the elementary and the middle high school. Thank you all and have a great night.